So I thought you would come on stage with your bike uniform, no?
So it's been done before. I have done that.
Today you dressed up.
Today I decided to go in my civilian clothes.
I got it. Well, thanks for being here. So how was the game on Monday, right?
So I thought the game was absolutely spectacular. Of course, it was a very exciting game. The four best players each scored, and the game ended officially in a tie, 2-2, but there was one winner, Israel.
So I think everyone here will agree with that. I myself don't follow football, soccer, but that's my problem. But explain to me for a second the idea behind bringing players like Messi here. You were involved in Space IL. You were involved in bringing Madonna for the Eurovision, the Gyro, as we saw just up on that great movie before. What's the thinking? Why are you doing this? Why are you investing money in these kind of events? What's the idea?
So thematically for me, all of these events are the same. Basically, they are about showing to what I consider to be the massive majority of people who are apolitical, who don't care about Israel particularly, who don't know Israel, but if pushed to give an opinion, to express an opinion, they would probably have a negative opinion of the country because of the steady drumbeat of negative news and negative media coverage of Israel. But that's not the Israel that everyone in this room knows and lives every day. We live in a normal country. We live in an open, tolerant, free, democratic, and very importantly, safe country. And this is the message that you bring through imagery like this. It's not hasbara. It's not. You're not appealing to people intellectually. You're not appealing to political people. You're appealing to regular folk. I would say 85% of people out there, just sports fans, music fans, and you're appealing to them here, to the heart rather than intellectually. And I think this is really sort of the antidote to the negative news that we experience here. So I call it promoting normal Israel. And the flip side to that, of course, and if you saw the crowds in the movie of the Giro, is that Israelis are the most enthusiastic, energetic people in the world. And let's say a week before the Giro, I would say 95% of people had never even heard of the Giro d'Italia, and yet we had nearly 1 million people come and watch and cheer for the home team, my Israel Cycling Academy professional cycling team, which you saw in the blue and white. And so it brings our own country together in pride and patriotism and showing our best face to the world.
So just a few days before the game on Monday, we had that recent round of violence down in the Gaza Strip, and I know that there was some concern among maybe some of the players. Will they come? Will they not come? How did you finesse that?
So I want to. This is an ambassadorial conference,
yeah.
And as you read my title as self-appointed ambassador, and thank you for including.
We could have spoken to Israel Katz before and see if we make it formal, but.
So thank you for including me in this auspicious event. And the difference between these ambassadors and myself, being self-appointed, they can be recalled. I'm here forever. So I want to say thank you to the ambassadors of Uruguay and Argentina, who were giving the news on the ground. The teams were nervous. You're absolutely right, because of the news that was coming out, and it was very helpful to have their own people here on the ground explaining to them that everything was under control and it was safe to come to play the match. So I thank you, and I hope to continue working with various ambassadors out there from other countries. Bring us your sporting events. Bring us your famous people. We'll work together, and we're happy to continue to show our best face. And we need your help.
So that's an invitation to all these people to launch new initiatives, new projects. What is next for you?
So I can tell you I have two new projects in the pipeline, new or expanded. My Israel Cycling Academy team will be competing in the Tour de France this summer for the first time. The Tour de France, the Giro was seen by 1 billion people on TV, which is such a massive event. The Tour de France is more than 2 times that number. It's the most famous bicycle race, and it's seen all over the world. So we will be riding in the blue and white with Israelis riding at the Tour de France, seen by over 2 billion people this summer. So please watch.
And the second thing?
And my next one, I actually can't tell you what it is, but
No one's listening.
on January 15th, we've scheduled a press conference. This is big. Again, another activity that is really that caters to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of fans that we will be announcing on January the 15th. So stay tuned, or please, Jerusalem Post, cover our press conference.
Do we get a hint? Sports, entertainment?
So it is in sports.
Sports.
The largest audiences are sports. Just by way of example, the Eurovision was seen. It was the most successful Eurovision ever. Bringing Madonna here helped establish that, and we were seen by about 200 million music fans. So, if you think about the Tour de France, it's 10 times that amount.
Some critics might say, though, that what you're trying to do with all these initiatives is to whitewash the so-called occupation or the conflict that Israel has with the Palestinians, that you're trying to sugarcoat it, pink washing, whatever, all these different terms that are thrown around.
Sport washing.
Sport washing, there you go. How do you respond to that?
So, of course, I've heard this sport washing thing. So this means that everything that we do is some kind of a washing. So when we go to the restaurant, it's restaurant washing. And when we brush our teeth in the morning, it's teeth washing. So, by the way, it is teeth washing. So everything that we do can be called washing of some kind. This really is showing, you saw this movie, it's showing Israel, the real Israel, the normal Israel, the real Israel, our real story, in a very neutral fashion, reaching out to people whose only interest is the activity. So we're not preaching to them. This is not propaganda. This is just showing who we are, and instead of people who don't know us talking about us and saying bad things.
I want to ask you, you were running a successful business in Canada. You decided to pick up and move here. What prompted that? What brought you to this country?
So that's very simple. It's a one-word answer: Zionism. And the purest form of Zionism is expressed with your feet. So we decided to come here and live the Zionist dream and really practice what we preach.
What surprised you? I mean, you knew Israel, you had a family in Israel, you're familiar with the country, but you've been here now a few years. What is, if you think back now, what's most taken you by surprise from living here?
So I'm going to say this Giro d'Italia, I was hoping to have a good reaction because it was a big event and I invested a lot of money to bring this world-class event here. But I knew that Israelis were not familiar with with bike racing and specifically with the Giro, which is the second biggest race after the Tour de France. But the way Israelis responded and came out and cheered and with such enthusiasm, it opened my eyes, and I realized what the potential is here. This is the most enthusiastic country in the world. We can achieve anything.
And just one question before our time runs out, a question more about philanthropy. I saw that you're the one Israeli who signed on to the Bill Gates Giving Pledge. What have you learned about philanthropy, and what do you think Israelis or the Jewish world can learn about when it comes to philanthropy?
So interestingly, the Giving I think it's a shame that I'm the only Israeli signatory to the Giving Pledge, because there are plenty of wealthy Israelis, and I'm trying to lead by example and encourage them to do more here in the country. And also the Giving Pledge, interestingly, we're about 200 signatories in the world, and when I flip through the book and see all the names of everybody, I would guesstimate that maybe 45 to 50% are Jewish, and yet I would say very few of them give Jewishly. So again, I would encourage them to think about doing more. Of course, it's wonderful to give money to Harvard University and to Sloan Kettering Hospital and different things that they do, but also to give back to your own people. We are all a product of our culture, and we are a product of this Jewish culture that forces us to overachieve. And I would hope that they would think about giving back to our nation and our people.
Sylvan Adams, thank you very much for being with us today. Thank you.